This is day 2 of exam question of the day, where I answer one question each day under time conditions. This one was worth 4 marks, so I gave myself 4 minutes. The question says, white shapes and black shapes are used in a game. Some of the shapes are circles, all the other shapes are squares. The ratio of the number of white shapes to the number of black shapes is 3 to 7. The ratio of the number of white circles to the number of white squares is 4 to 5. The ratio of the number of black circles to the number of black squares is 2 to 5. Work out what fraction of all the shapes are circles. There were lots of ratios in that question, and I needed to lay it out in a way that made sense to me. It ended up looking a bit like a vertical tree diagram, so I just went with it. I needed to make sense of all of the ratios in the question. This allowed me to then think about seeing the quantities as fractions, because fractions, decimals, percentages, ratios, they're all different ways of saying the same thing. So in this case, I was able to turn these into fractions, and the question then became much easier to solve. When you're going along a tree diagram, you multiply. When you're going across a tree diagram, you add. As a result, I needed to multiply 3/10 by 4/9 and then add the answer to that to 7/10 times 2/7. Simplifying, that gave me an answer of 1/3. With the speed at which I was reading the question in the beginning, you wouldn't have thought I was going to make it, but actually it goes to show that you always have enough time to read the question thoroughly. I ended up finishing this question with time to spare, and I used that to reread the question and make sure that I had interpreted it correctly. Remember, when you're going along the branch on a tree diagram, you multiply. When you're going from one branch to another, you add. Here my marks were for multiplying my first pair of fractions, multiplying my second pair of fractions, adding them together, and then getting the answer. There's another method here that I want you to see that focuses on the ratios aspect, in case you didn't think to convert the ratios to fractions, which is fair. When you line up all of the ratios, they themselves don't really add up. So the aim is to make sure that the top layer of the ratio is equal to the bottom layer of the ratio. And you just do that by scaling up and scaling down. We always write ratios in their simplest form, but when you're handling multiple ratios at once, sometimes it helps to write it in its less simplest form, to scale it up just so that the numbers add up well. Because everything on the bottom layer is part of the top layer, the totals across the ratios should add up. So the top layer now equals 30 and the bottom layer now equals 30. That makes it much easier to compare and get the same answer of 1/3. Hope this video was helpful. If you see an exam question that you'd like me to go through, let me know. Otherwise, keep practicing, believe in yourself, I believe in you, and I'm proud of you.